we would just like all watch surf movies, and then you'd have like your favorite surfers, and you just want to copy their moves and stuff. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I just always like was into trying to like do tricks and stuff. I remember my dad was like filming me one time, and he's like, "Why do you keep like trying this crazy stuff? You're never gonna land it." But like to me, it was like that was like my favorite thing, and I was like, "Mean, like I'm having fun."
Yeah.
Um, and then you know, eventually I started to like land stuff. Oh shit!
What was it like? I mean, so what was it like when you landed your first air?
I don't remember my very first air, but I do remember the first time I did an air reverse. And yeah, I had this like little yellow board, and yeah, I just freaked out. It was at this little wave. The wave we grew up surfing was this little left, and then at the end of every wave it had like a little air section. So I remember I did it and just freaked out, like was claiming it, and just like yeah, it was a pretty crazy moment.
How old were you when that happened?
I'm so curious what it actually looks like. It was probably like the worst little air ever. But
That's always how it is,
yeah.
right? You know, you always think it looks way cooler than the reality is. But I don't know, the airs you do now, I imagine they must like look crazier than they even feel in your head, right? I mean, just some of the stuff you're doing. I don't know.
It's kind of what surfing's funny. Like sometimes you think you do something that's like so insane, and then you see it on footage and it sucks, or it can be the opposite, where you do something and didn't feel that good, and then you look at it and you went, "Whoa!" Like a few months back, I was surfing and I did this air, and I was convinced it was like one of the best airs I've ever done in my life. Like it felt huge and like insane, and then I looked in, and my filmer was not on the beach where he had originally started, and I was freaking out. I was like, I can't believe he missed it. Where'd he go? Like, what's he doing? And I was like having a panic attack because I was like, that was like, like stuff like that in surfing doesn't happen all the time, right? Like it,
Right.
it could be like a pretty pivotal moment in your career if you land something that crazy. And I was so bummed out. And then I came in like, I can't believe he like left or something. And then it turns out he had just moved down the beach into a different area.
Ah,
And and then I was like, "Oh, did you get it?" And he's like, didn't seem that excited. And he's like, "Yeah, I got it." And I was like, I went and looked at the clip, and I just started laughing. It wasn't even like, it just looked like an average air. And I was just like, I can't believe I just had a fucking tantrum in the water and like, thought you missed that and thought it was the best air of my life. And now I'm looking at the clip, and it looks like no better than
oh man.
any.
Oh my God. Well, there is this one air that I have a video of it. I was maybe a little bit later. I was hoping that you would walk us through it because it is the craziest looking air. It's just wild. My friend and I were talking about it before this, and it is just a little bit later. Maybe we'll get into it, but I just want to backtrack a little bit more. So you'd mentioned how you used to skate a lot, and did that influence your surfing and your approach to
Yeah,
the airs and all that?
I think so. Just because in skateboarding, like any trick you do, you have to get off the ground, right? So I think I kind of took that mindset to surfing, like, oh, if I want to do a trick, I gotta like get in the air. And I just think that's where my mind was at. But yeah, I'd say skateboarding, like I had a little half pipe like in my garage, and when I was on the half pipe, I was pretending I was surfing, and then when I'd be in the water, I'd be pretending I was skateboarding, like it was like a.
Yeah. And did you feel that translation from one to the other?
Kind of. I mean, the technique is so much different, but the mindset's there, and then just like balancing and stuff translates. But I mean, I guess there's similarities in technique, but it is quite a bit different.
Mm.
But if you look at a lot of the guys who have been pretty like progressive as far as airs go, a lot of them have a skate background.
Yeah.
And are actually like really good at skating, like Eric Geiselman and John and stuff. And I think it just helps. I was never nearly as good as them at skateboarding, but I feel like it did help.
Yeah. And you look at that whole generation of the young female surfers, they're, coming up on the North Shore, and a lot of them kind of come from skate backgrounds and they're getting into airs as well. So it
Yeah.
definitely seems like it's helping. Or I'm looking at Jackson Dorian, like, you see videos of him when like, he was a little kid, just like on that little half pipe that Shane built for him. And obviously
Yeah.
he throws the craziest airs. So for like, let's say you're dealing with like if you're trying to improve and figure out how to do airs, like what would you do on a skateboard that would help emulate it? Just going on the half pipe and just kind of, how would you approach it? What kind of advice would you give there?
Mm, a lot of it is like commitment. That's a huge issue I see with people trying airs like in the beginning is they're almost like afraid of the landing and afraid of the section. And they might hit the section, but they'll launch like out the back of the wave or something and be afraid to like totally commit to it. And I think you just like, especially in skateboarding, you really have to commit to your landings and just like have confidence that the board's going to be under you and it's the same with surfing. You just have to like totally commit and not be afraid of falling.
Hey everyone, if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down there and check out our other videos because we got tons of great content to help you improve.